Hello there and good morning. This is day 5 of my 5-day fast. And for this video, I just wanted to share this idea or this question of whether Hollywood gets hunger or starvation wrong. Now, I want to start this off with a disclaimer. The disclaimer that I get the idea that for Hollywood films, entertainment, and all things like that, that the idea of a person who's hungry eating very slowly or not eating in like a crazy ravenous way almost doesn't feel like it makes sense and it's kind of boring. So, with that said, of course, Hollywood movies are always there to amp things up a little bit, but does it truly capture the essence of what it means to be hungry and starving? So two parts here, and from my experience, what I'm getting, the first 1 or 2 days of my fast, I definitely felt almost ravenous. So at that level of type of eating, you know what I mean? Like anything, if I could just get my hands on anything, I don't care how I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna like uncivilized and just stuffing it in my mouth. Now again, this is only 5 days that I've been fasting. It's not like an entire month of forced, not eating, right? Or having like my first meal after forced not eating, right? So I'm not talking about like super starvation, but after 5 days of hunger, what I noticed is that the first 2 or 3 days, were definitely days where I felt like rage towards wanting to eat food. People talk about being hangry. It was definitely a just super hangriness, and that I would take any food and like probably stuff it in my mouth, but it wouldn't make me lose my civility. But maybe that's because I know that at any time I could just stop and go to a restaurant. There's thousands and thousands of restaurants within a couple miles. And with that said, the question is, does Hollywood get hunger or starvation wrong? Because on day 5, I definitely don't feel like I have the full amount of energy to like just take food and just start stuffing in my face like I've never eaten before, and it's the best thing, and like losing my humanity in terms of reaching food. Now, you get the idea of a movie of someone who hasn't eaten for a couple of days or has only eaten very little and suddenly they get a ton of food. On the other hand, scientifically, from my understanding, I did some research on this. I did some research on fasting and the impacts and how you should possibly get out of a fast. And a big mistake you can make, and a potentially dangerous mistake you can make, is overeating or eating foods that your body is not prepared to handle. So ideally, from my understanding, is that you take in foods that are more digestible. You don't start just taking in like fatty, greasy foods, high sugar foods, because your body hasn't been producing insulin for a little bit, so your body's not as able to absorb sugar or process sugar into a usable form. So that can be, potentially harmful, potentially dangerous, and you're eating all these processed foods. If you suddenly start doing that, supposedly you have the potential to like be puking or potentially even dying, right? So it can be dangerous. So before you try anything like this, always speak to a doctor. But I'm glad I read that, because the first thing on my mind, the first 2 days of being hungry, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go get a chili cheeseburger, big giant chili cheeseburger and fries. And although I think my body could handle a giant chili cheeseburger tomorrow, and I'm tempted to go do it, mentally I don't have that desire as much as I did day 2 or 3. And that's where I think Hollywood movies can get hunger or starvation wrong. At least, for somebody that maybe hasn't eaten for like 1 to 10 days or something, right? Because you get hungry, you want to feast, but after the first few days, you come to accept the situation, that you're going to be fasting, or maybe in a movie there might be a like situation where somebody is in a jungle and they haven't had food for a bit and they've been hunting and that's their total mindset, and suddenly they get some food and they just eat it like mad. But what I feel right now, this sensation or this desire to eat, is quite a controlled and calm desire. And again, maybe this is because I know I'm going to have food tomorrow. I have that certainty. So I'm excited. I feel okay. I'm not like, you know, not scrounging and struggling for it. I definitely feel as if tomorrow I'm going to be appreciative of anything I eat, and it's going to be a more mindful feast of slowly, eating my food, enjoying it, whatever it is, and trying to pick something healthy. Because at this point, I almost feel like my body, my stomach and body cannot necessarily tolerate like a soda, right? I would probably love to drink a soda, but it's probably not good for me. And I don't drink soda usually in general, but it feels as if there's been like a reset in my taste buds. And definitely by tomorrow, I'm going to enjoy whatever it is I eat, but not in like a ravenous, uh, zombie, feasting zombie like way with like hands and all that craziness, but just, slow eating, mindful eating. I don't know how else to put that. I mean, I think if you go through the process of fasting for more than 3 days, you probably reach a point where you also realize that the amount of energy that you need to expend to eat ravenously can be quite a lot. And if you have food in front of you, it's in front of you. You eat it and it just goes. But it's not like you lose the energy to be ravenous too. And this is and the only way to get through this 5 day fast for me personally was to truly think about this from a mindful perspective, to be able to observe my thoughts, to be able to, really kind of like dig down. I mean, I know a lot of people might do this for weight loss. I did not need to lose weight. I mean, yeah, I could have lost like maybe 1 or 2 pounds and it was all just like small amounts of body fat or whatever. But with that said, um, you know, my ultimate goal was not weight loss. My ultimate goal was not, some sort of trying to fix or repair some sort of health deficiency, or it wasn't like doctor recommended. This is more of like a challenge to myself, a a desire to experience what it actually feels like, and to also be able to observe my thoughts and just possibly reset my taste buds and experience some of the other benefits, such as being able to reset your taste buds, increase in human growth hormone, which I don't know how that affects you while fasting because you don't have any nutrients to really build on muscle. But supposedly your human growth hormone production increases for the next few days after the 5 days. Of course, I didn't. I only read this on an article, and they provided like one research paper on it. So with that said, use that with a grain of salt. But on top of that, your body starts to produce tons and tons of or starts to do a better job of regenerating via stem cells. And if you don't know what stem cells are, there's a great book out there called Life Force by Tony Robbins, Peter Diamandis, and Robert Harari. Very, very smart people in their field, have done a lot to contribute to humanity, and it does a lot of there's a lot of information on the topic of stem cells and how they can heal the body. I mean, there's research out there that says that human stem cells can basically, if you get a knee injury, you don't have to go through surgery. You could just inject stem cells and they can make your knees feel like brand new again. How amazing is that? Now, imagine if you had that naturally in your body. Now, with that said, it's important to talk to a physician, get a doctor's sign off on anything that you want to do to see if this is even a right choice for you. Because from my understanding, some people's bodies can't even handle a 5 day fast, and like on day 2 or 3, they're already like puking. But besides the physiological and the physical effects, if you're a generally healthy person, the way to really get through this, from my experience, is just to be mindful of your thoughts and not letting your hunger addiction, your food addiction. I know that sounds stupid, right? Who addicted to food? That's not. You can't be addicted to food. Food is just a thing that food nourishes us. So food is just the thing that nourishes us, right? But even at that level, I find that myself, and we know that many Americans do not nourish their bodies properly. So even in that sense, a fast can be very, very life changing. Now, excuse my slowness, haven't eaten in a few days, but with that said, I just wanted to make this quick morning review of my morning of day 5 of my 5-day fast. I am very excited about tomorrow, but not in this ravenous like Hollywood feast like crazy like a mad zombie type of way, but more like, hey, this is everything that I eat is gonna taste good. It's gonna be there, and I want to nourish and like take care of my body and ultimately feel good in a healthy way. And eventually build up to a great chili cheeseburger, chili cheese dog, and some fries and seafood and things like that. Again, Korean barbecue maybe. But with that said, a lot of things on mine. I've been watching a lot of cooking videos, and they're just so inspiring. With that said, thank you for watching this video. If you ever try it, be sure to share your experiences and have a wonderful day.